Welcome back to Your Life Beyond Belief. I'm Emily, and this is my beautiful friend Tiana.
Tiana.
So, we have had a lot of fun even just talking about this episode. It is called Ride the Wave because we have so many beautiful and sometimes not so beautiful unexpected waves that we have to just if you have to manage it, let's not duck under it. Let's just ride the wave. So, my beautiful friend Tiana, why don't you tell us about how your week went?
Okay. First, I just want to say I cannot agree with the name that we went with more for this week because literally I have been riding many waves in life. And let's just start right with the beginning. I almost got in a near death accident last night, and it was something that I would say required me to stay calm and ride the wave because the accident I was in could have been way worse. And I'll slow it down for you all. Like, we were going to go pick up my son. Thankfully, he was not in the car when the accident happened. The car unfortunately hit us from the back, and we ended up spinning across multiple lanes. And I was like, oh my goodness, this could have gone so many ways. But I'm here on the podcast right now with very minor injuries. Like, my shoulder hurts, my head was hurting this morning, take some medication. But essentially, I walked away unscathed, right? And immediately as the car stopped spinning, I was like, wow, like I'm alive right now, right? And this is a wave that can happen to anyone. People get in accidents all the time, but you don't know what your life will look like afterwards, right? Sometimes it can be way worse than what happened to me, and that's just like a real part of life. So I guess it's the way that I wanted to start the episode off, was just talking about like I went through a roller coaster of a ride yesterday.
So let's even slow this down a little bit further. So Tiana, this woman right here, has
Mhm.
such a passion for living her life beyond belief that she decided that even though she was in a car accident at like 9:30 last night, she went to the hospital, got home from the hospital, left the hospital like 3 a.m. And then we were planning to record just a few hours later. We didn't get to like record exactly at that time, but she called me and she was like, "Emily, I had a near death experience. Let's talk about living our lives for real, for real."
Yeah,
So,
no. Yes, I appreciate you doubling down on it because sometimes when we go through things, we can feel like, oh man, like this is the worst thing. But it's like you just pick yourself back up, and keep going and keep going. Emily, so how was your life beyond belief this week?
oh girl, I mean, I do want to circle back and talk about what this near death experience kind of like has made us reflect on and kind of like where we're at with that. But we can talk about my week first. That's perfect. So I have been thinking about and talking to a lot of people about value and how we value ourselves, what value we place on ourselves and how we are as people valuable. And that's something that we can also circle back and talk about. And one of the things that I love about Your Life Beyond Belief and kind of like us building this together is that when I meet people, I can talk to them about it. And so I met these two wonderful women on a plane this week because I had to fly to DC for a work event. And so on the way back, I met these two really amazing women who are kind of, they're go-getters. They've been through a lot. After I shared what Your Life Beyond Belief was about and kind of like what it means to me, they then kind of shared some vulnerable parts of their lives and then kind of like their passions, their dreams, the adventures they've been on. And it was just so inspiring for all. I mean, we just happened to all be sitting in the same row. We happened to be very open to that kind of like fun and fruitful conversation. But there was also real emotional depth to some of the things that we shared. It was 2.5 hours that flew by so quickly, and that was absolutely the highlight of my week. And it
Aw.
all started because I was telling them that my friend and I were trying to build our lives beyond belief and kind of create a community where we help other people also build lives that they're excited to wake up to. So I that is kind of like my highlight and glowing thing from this week.
I feel like I shared something that happened, not necessarily a glowing thing. Like I'm trying
I
to
think
think
it
like
glowed in a different direction, right?
it was glowing in the dark last night. Okay, if I'm honest, like I was like, wow. I mean, I what I would say is that one, there's nothing like a good airplane ride with people you can sit next to and talk to. Because to your point, it goes by faster and you're able to engage and connect. And a plane ride is a time to like slow down, right? And
Mhm.
think about and reflect. So I'm glad you had that opportunity. And yes, I saw your story with your Washington, D.C. update. I was like, where's she going? She's like, oh, just
Just
living
try
my
to keep
life.
up, you guys.
Just leaving no, just leading the way every day. And that makes sense. I'm trying to think about how to like slow down this week also. So like being in that car accident definitely has me slowing down. Shout out to my stepmom and holding my kid today. I don't have to deal with, or I don't get to the opportunity to hang out with my son today. But that's good. I get to like, after we do this episode, I'm gonna rest. I might walk to a neighbor's house and have a coffee. She has like a nice screened in porch. So I'll sit on her porch and do like a coffee experience and just settle in to like realizing that I'm alive right now. And it seems like you're doing that too.
Well, and I think what you're describing is also something that is so important that it's like, no, I'm not going to feel guilty about letting you take care of my son. Thank you so much for that so that I can reset myself and I can take care of myself. And you're not kind of like just leaving whatever is left for yourself. Like, oh,
No
I have to rush
crumbs.
and do this. And so, yeah, exactly. No crumbs, girl. So like, I love that you are not leaving the crumbs for yourself. You are giving yourself a day to have the whole entree,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll be able to give more and be more. They always say fill your cup first. Well, this is what that means in real life, is just, okay, I went through something. I'm not going to minimize that because I have other responsibilities. I'm going to find ways. A lot of, I think, building the community of your life beyond belief is also understanding like when to ask for help, how to ask for help, and not feeling weird or guilty about asking for help, just like I did when I needed to organize my apartment. And this is the same type of thing. It's just kind of like when you need someone, like, it creates connection, it drives relationships to be able to like lean on other people and have community around you. And I love that you're spending a day taking care of yourself. That's so important.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, as you're talking, I guess what's coming to my head with this episode, like this is really, really meta. Have you ever tried to control a wave? Like,
Yeah, girl. Yeah,
listen,
girl, like catch that water, right?
like
Like,
you try
I
to catch
got a
it, and
bucket, I can do that.
I can do it, and like have you ever tried to predict a wave, like how that goes and how that? And so it's like when you're saying like taking the time for myself and being like, it's more of like, this is an opportunity to look at the wave, watch the waves, and just be present.
And I think I mean, I don't know if anybody watching has ever tried surfing, has ever gone surfing, but that is so much of surfing. Like, you get out when you first learn to surf, you get out and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Like, what are the skills involved? Like, how do I do this? And part of surfing and learning to surf, that when I first learned to surf, it was very frustrating, is like, you can't just like go out and like the harder you try, the better you are at it. Like, you really have to relax and calm yourself, because I remember the guy who was teaching me was such a like classic surfer
Surfer,
guy that was just like,
gotta
whoa, just like
chill.
slow down. And I was just like, but I'm trying to be good at this. I only have 3 hours in this lesson. I'm trying. So he's like, yeah, do you see like the bumps on the horizon? And I was just like, what are you talking about? I just see water everywhere. And
Mm,
now it's so funny looking back, because that was maybe 10 years ago.
mm,
Looking back, I think I can look out at the water now and I can see the waves, but I also have like learned how to slow down that much more. And I understand that like when you go to the beach, sure, you can surf, but like you do have to spend some time observing. What's the
mm,
ocean already doing? What do the waves look like? Do I even want to get in right now? And then
mm,
once you're in, okay, is this a good wave for me? Or do I kind of like stay out of the breakers right now and kind of like wait for the next one? And so it just is so much about kind of like, okay, like once you're on it, yeah, you have to adjust and you have to like lean and ebb and flow with the wave. And also, there's not just one wave in the ocean. There's a bunch of waves that are always coming. And then you are also selective of like, which wave do I ride? Do I go and get my son anyway today? Do I choose
mhm,
that wave? Or do I just kind of like hang out here and wait for the next right wave? So it's so interesting that you say it's about slowing down, because even riding the wave, literally is about slowing down, looking at the horizon, and kind of evaluating where you are.
No, that's nice, and I really appreciate that metaphor, and listening to you, I'm just thinking about, like, okay, sit on your board, sit on what you can actually control, which I assume I don't know how to surf, but I assume that's something to it, like, the board is, like, what you actually are more in control of.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's really not about controlling the whole ocean. We can't control the ocean. We don't
Are
like,
you sure?
if some winds come in, good luck. You know?
Mhm.
And so it's all about how you adapt and just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna start paddling now. Like you control your energy. The wave doesn't change because you're riding it. You change to ride the wave. And
Okay.
sometimes, listen, just like in life, sometimes we wipe out.
That's what literally the next thing, sometimes you wipe out.
Sometimes we
Total
wipe
wipe
out.
out.
Sometimes it's a beautiful, glorious wipeout. Sometimes you
Mhm.
learn exactly what not to do. Like wiping out doesn't make you stop riding the waves. It doesn't mean you
Yeah.
have to try to control the ocean again. It just means you
Mhm.
wiped out.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll do it differently next time. Maybe you won't and you'll wipe out again. Maybe you won't and you won't wipe out that time.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're
Who
carrying this
knew
metaphor too
this?
far.
Listen, I'm fine with it. I'm with it. I mean, this is what this is. It's our life beyond, or your life, but our life beyond belief. So, like for me, the metaphor for me is sticking in a sense of like when I'm working on a project and how sometimes I can look at the whole ocean of a project, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And sometimes, like to your point, you need to just focus on like what are the next waves coming, like steps, right?
Absolutely.
And so, in building your life beyond belief, I think that that's the great or perfect metaphor for like slowing down, or one that should be able to be understood. It's like, okay, so you can look ahead, and just that's what projections are, right? So you're like assuming, and then you can see what's right in front of you, though. Like, how are you going to adapt to what's on you? And if it's going to hit you, sometimes you just get hit and you can get up. So I appreciated that. That can be the end of the metaphor. If you listen to that much of it, that means it probably was sticking for you. And if you didn't, I hope you zoomed forward so you can hear what we're going to say next. So, the thing that I wanted to ask you next, like, what's going on? Like, what are you working on? Like in this week? I know you said something about values. Could we circle back to that?
Girl, yes. Okay, so I've been very passionately working on and talking about value. If we start at the no crumbs philosophy, um, I I was evaluating that, okay, crumbs, why would I accept crumbs? I'm trying to figure out kind of like the psychology behind it. And so I think about like, oh, maybe it's like a low confidence or low self-worth. And that it just that doesn't exactly align. I am confident. I have skills. I'm lovable. I have all of these things that I'm not feeling like I'm not confident. I really like myself. Um, I don't feel like I have low self-worth. I feel like I offer a lot. And I have a lot to offer. And so I'm trying to kind of like peel back the layers of what would make someone who's like highly confident, highly capable, accept crumbs from other people, because it doesn't compute. Like the equation is wrong. And so I've talked to a lot of people about it just to kind of get their insight on like what makes a person valuable. And then I also, from my times developing like leadership programs, I one of the things that I like to do, because I'm an instructional designer, so I like to kind of learn, I like to look at things, read things, and then I develop something that's experiential that helps whoever I'm kind of leading or teaching to get through a topic by having an emotional experience or any type of experience. I have a passion for creating experience. So whether it's like going to breakfast with a friend or whether it is leading a session in a leadership retreat, I like creating an experience. I want you to feel something. I want you to look at something in a way you haven't before. I want it to be memorable, and all like no detail is unimportant to me. That is just the way my brain works. And so I developed I think, first through fifth value worksheets. Or I guess it might end up being a booklet or something like that, but it's on kind of evaluating where you are with yourself and kind of like how you value yourself, what creates value for you. And I also have learned that we have intrinsic and extrinsic value. And so I think a lot of us place a higher value on what we offer other people. Um, and I think the interesting thing to kind of reflect on is that it's just kind of like I've asked people, why are you valuable? And they'll be like, oh, well, I do this for my job, I do this for my family, and everything like that. But what makes a person who maybe doesn't have all of those roles? Like, what makes that person valuable? And one of the things to reflect on is, when a baby is born, does the baby not have value because they're not performing something or doing a task for someone else? And so I think that most of us would agree that a baby does have value. So if a baby can have value and we can look at that baby and say, like, oh, they're valuable, then why is it that we can think that we have less value if we're not performing? I think a lot of it ends up being kind of into a scope of earning love. Like, oh, I have to do this for them, and then I'm valuable, and then they'll like me or love me. And kind of like it creates this very performative cycle of I have to keep helping people, I have to keep doing this, and then, they'll like and appreciate me. But I think that there's something deeper that we need to heal within ourselves where we understand that we already have the value. And because we are valuable, we can choose to do X, Y, and Z for other people. We can choose to share those gifts and that value, those qualities, all of those things that make us us. But we as individuals are intrinsically valuable and we share that value with other people. But sharing it doesn't give us value. We already hold it. And so there's a lot more that kind of goes behind it. But I think that's the best way I can summarize it. And I think that it's easy logically, and this is where my passion for education comes in. It's logically we can say, yeah, of course we have value, and then also 5 minutes later overextend ourselves for someone else because we're still in that cycle of earning love, earning appreciation, being of value to other people. And so part of what the worksheet and the experience, that whole workshop session is going to be about is how do we rewire our brains so that we don't feel guilty when we ask someone for help, so that we don't feel like we're burdening someone else, so that we don't keep giving ourselves crumbs and kind of expecting crumbs from other people. Because one of the things that we're doing in Your Life Beyond Belief is we're changing the course of our lives. We want to take the vision and we want to make it real. And so when you dream big and take steps toward that dream, you're not going to have as much energy to give to other people. And other people are benefiting from your energy. So they're
Mhm.
not going to be happy when you give them less. So we need to understand that we are valuable. We have value. We don't necessarily need to share that value with other people all of the time. We don't need to overextend ourselves. We are accepting no crumbs. We are enacting our vision. We are pursuing our goals. And then we can give people what we have left. But in order to do that, we need to change the way we think about ourselves and the way that we operate in life. And so that's kind of like, that's my big thing that I've been working on.
I think that's a very, very big thing. And I really appreciate how you laid it out and also to learn like a little snippet into what they could expect if they come on the retreat with us. Like, I'm really looking forward to that workshop and going through that experience with you because, everything you said had touched on a point even within my life. I think about an opportunity that I had to work on this project a couple years ago, and it was like a thing that would recur every year. And this summer, I actually stepped away from that project because, to your point, I needed to focus on what I needed to focus on for myself, right? And I had a lot of mixed feelings about it because sometimes when you're working on something for someone else, you feel like almost like an obligated, invisible
Yeah.
contract. You haven't signed the paper, but like somehow you're like, if I do this, this could upset this person, depending on your background or trauma. If you have those types of things where you might feel like, oh, it's a fear thing, or it might be tied to like wanting to control the other person's emotions, which we have to separate from. Like, in thinking about what you were saying, also, I think people are their own individual oceans and they have their own waves, right? So like you can't control, right? all of them. You can move out of the way. You can use the tools that you have to navigate other people. So, anyway, I'm really looking forward to that workshop. And, like I said, it made me reflect on that opportunity I had, and I said no to it. So,
Yeah.
Um, so for me this week, what I worked on that comes to my head immediately, um, it's more about not feeling guilt about things that I haven't done yet. I realized that when you have a lot of things on your plate, there's going to be things that you get done and there's going to be things that you don't get done. And if you haven't had the opportunity to slow down and decide what is your top priority, you can function out of not actually picking what's the top priority for you. And, even sitting down and reflecting on again the accident last night and how that like really shook me up and me realizing that like, oh, like my life was like flashing quote unquote before my eyes. I realized I'm like, you need to take some time and you need to like decide what's your top priority. And I think, that's something that can be done for people at the retreat. I know that like I plan to do a priority session, like just talking about priorities and what that means. I think I alluded to it a little bit last week when I talked about like making your own almost like pie of meaning or what means the most to you and dividing the
Mhm.
pie because you only have so much time. So sitting
Mhm.
down and doing that activity, I need to do a new one because I try to do it often, but I need to do a new pie. Because if you feel that feeling that I was talking about of like, oh, guilt, I've been getting stuff done, but it's not the right thing, it's because maybe your priorities haven't been set for what's the most important thing to you. But there's also something that I got from what you said about your value and not having to give to everything, right? And if it's not aligned with your purpose or your life beyond belief, you might have to let it go. And it's okay. People are going to be disappointed. I think I see this all the time on social media. Like, people are never satisfied. They want more and more and more. It's just like how I guess our baseline functioning can be. And it's not necessarily that the person is trying to be mean. You don't have to think of it as a malicious thing, like, oh, this person's just trying to get something from you. No, they're just trying to live their own life. And like, if you're able to help them, you can. And it's your responsibility to say no because of whatever, whether you don't want to do it, whether you don't have the capacity to do it, whether it doesn't align with what you are focused on in this moment, in this time, like that's okay. Yeah, so the big thing is prioritization and decoupling that with guilt, like separating those things, understanding that guilt is an emotion. You can feel that and you can let that go. And it doesn't have to be with you. And you have to accept that I made this choice because that was the best choice for me at this time. You can make another choice next week or you can reprioritize. So that was my thing.
I think that that's so important. I think that, like I said before, it's we have a finite amount of energy. And so even if we have learned how to say, okay, I can't put energy into that thing for you, which thing for us do we put energy into? Because if you are kind of so segmented, you're not going to get the kind of momentum that you want. Um, and yes, and the idea that like, I feel guilty all the time if I say no to people. I don't like saying no at all. I wanna say yes to everything all the time. And I think that what you said is so important. Guilt is an emotion. Guilt is an emotion, you guys. An emotion is just another wave. It comes and goes. When I used to teach leadership, I taught emotional intelligence. And so just like a sneak peek into emotional intelligence. Um, an emotion is a chemical release in your body. So if you think about, I know for me, if I feel like I'm put on the spot or I'm feeling embarrassed, I'll feel it in my cheeks. It's because there is a chemical that makes me feel that emotion and it's released and it lasts in your body for about 20 minutes. That's 20 minutes if you don't re-trigger it or, like it doesn't dissipate in your body for 20 minutes. So if you're feeling embarrassed and it takes a minute for that feeling to go away, it's because there is still that chemical kind of dissipating in your body. So it might take 20 minutes. So sometimes when I feel a thing, I'll tell myself, okay, Emily, it's only 20 minutes. It's only 20 minutes. You're really embarrassed right now, but this is just a thing that's going to last 20 minutes. There's lots of things that last 20 minutes. Sometimes I wait for food for 20 minutes. Sometimes I drive somewhere and it takes 20 minutes. Like, I have done lots of things that take 20 minutes. You are strong enough to do this. Um, and I think that the other thing is that we're talking about getting comfortable with something that's uncomfortable.
Oh man,
Like,
yeah.
yeah. So you're feeling guilty, but once guilty becomes something that you're comfortable with feeling because you know that your choices align with your purpose, your vision, your goals. And yes, you feel guilty over here because person X, Y, and Z said something, because you said you were going to do something that you may have to back out of, that, you know, like you said, you didn't sign the contract. It's just something that like doesn't align with what you have to do anymore. So like you are over here and the rest of the world is over here, and they may make you feel guilty or you may just feel guilty. But once you, like, if you've made the decision and you know you're over here, then that guilt is just maybe a feeling you have to get comfortable with. And it is uncomfortable, but the more you do it and the more you kind of experience that, it gets less and less uncomfortable. And you just kind of say like, okay, like, I'm feeling a little bit guilty right now. I felt guilty before. This emotion is going to pass. I know that the things that I'm doing are aligned with what I need to do and aligned with my purpose and goals. So I think that every single part of that has so much value, because I know that as you were talking, it resonates with me that I have to like do things differently or back out or something like that. And I feel so incredibly guilty. But and also, I don't want to do whatever thing it is and then waste my time or energy when it could be so much better used somewhere else.
No, I think that's like an important thing to like reflect on if you're listening to this episode. It's like you only have so much time and you only have so much energy. And yeah, I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say because I feel like they're not sponsoring this episode, but there is a drink that gives you wings.
But if you
But
want a sponsor, we're open to
so
that.
yeah, we're open to sponsorship. But like anyway, there is a drink that gives you wings. But like honestly, that's only for a temporary time. You don't want to burn yourself out. So, because I feel like what can lead to a wipeout is burnout. Like, I know that if
Mhm.
you stay on the water too long, from my understanding, there is exhaustion. If not, so
Absolutely.
going back to my surfboard metaphor.
Listen, there's all kinds of stuff out there if you stay out too long. There's sunburn, there's dehydration, there's heat exhaustion, there's muscle exhaustion, there's sharks sometimes. Like, you know,
Hmm.
like there's all kinds of stuff. There's
Yeah,
stuff out
no.
there to get you.
There's bird poop. Let me stop. But anyway, I wanted to share what I'm gonna work on going into next week as like, a way to build towards our lives beyond belief, or your life beyond belief. And really I talked to you about prioritization, but also like just completing the tasks on my list. I had this one friend a couple years ago tell me like, I'm like, how do you get everything done? I went to her event. It was like this immaculate event. I was super impressed by it. All these people came, and like, I don't know if you've ever just like wondered, like, how do these people get all these things done? Main point. She said, it's very simple, Tiana. I write it down. And then I cross it off. And I was just like, I hear what you're saying. I'm like, I could do that, right? You like, oh, I can do that. That's simple, right? But like, I wouldn't like have this like honest conversation with folks. Like, how often do you write it down and then cross it off? Like, put the task down, slow down enough. Don't keep it in your head, but like write it down and then cross it off. So I think that that is something that I'm going to work on this week, and like really relaxing into that. There's this one book that I read. It's about like 168 hours. I will have to give Emily the link so that we can like talk about it later or add it to the show notes. But main point of the story is that we only have 168 hours in a week, and
Mm.
And writing down the tasks, you can then see where the task fits in. And I am someone who loves the idea of a planner. I've never become a master of planning, but that's something that I'm always working towards. And so, especially a type of planner, I like the idea, right, of things, but like, how do you get beyond just being an idea? You have to write it down, you have to prioritize. So, I'm really working on that within myself this week, and there are tools that I hope to be able to develop to share with you all because this is something I'm intentionally like doing work around.
I really I have over the last week, I have felt so overwhelmed with the way my fall is looking and how much is going on in the fall. And I have a personal training certification on the side, and I just got the email that that's gonna expire in December. And I was just like, no, we're building this awesome thing. And then I have like vacations, and then I have actual work stuff that I have to do, and I'm just kind of like, uh, so I was looking at planners this week, and I was just kind of like, can I be a planner person? Is this is this in my thing?
Is this in my future? Can I do it? Can I do it? I
Can
feel
I
like
do
blank
it?
paper is my friend. I think did we talk about bullet journals? Like
We
blank,
have,
we have okay. I don't know if we
but
talked
not
about
on the
it on the
podcast.
podcast. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast. Bullet journals are cool. I think I like the idea of bullet journaling. I have a mentor that talks about like how it doesn't take as much time. But if you haven't done the activity, I think the biggest thing about your life beyond belief has to start with like knowing how much time it actually takes to do something, right? Versus like what you think and then why you don't stop. And I want to do some research, maybe even add this to my to-do list this week, my list. It's like
Yeah.
how much time, like, and then like it takes to do certain things. Like realistically, you being a personal trainer inside, you might be able to say like it might take you X amount of time to build this much muscle and like
Mhm.
information and that type of information. But I'm sure that there are a lot of things that folks want to do, especially like maybe building a certain type of career. You need to like slow down and like actually know how long you can't be this overnight or know what skills you need to know. How long will it take you as an individual to develop that skill? Not comparing yourself to anyone else, but just knowing how much, you know. If I know that in a week I have 4 hours to focus on XYZ activity and it takes about 40 hours to master it, that means, you know, how many weeks is that? 10 weeks? So, like, it would take me 10 weeks in theory to master the thing, but then you have to actually do that. So, give the 4 hours, mark off 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. I did that. And keeping track of time, I think, is a big part of it. So, anyway, this week I'm really focusing on that, sitting down with my time, tracking it, and mastering my list for whatever it is that I'm going to work on and prioritize. Okay, I'm going to pass the mic to you, Emily. What are you working on this
I
week?
wanna do that too. I get to listen, you guys, like, I get so excited about growing. Like, so part of your life beyond belief is the fact that, like, growing can be fun. Growing
Yeah.
can be like, working on yourself can be something that you absolutely look forward to. That's why we have our bright, colorful logo. That's why our whole vibe is fun, is
Mhm.
because growing yourself and investing in yourself can be something that is so absolutely fun. And so as you were talking about that, I was like, "Ooh, I could do a
We
stab
could
at
do
this.
a
Like,
blank
I could
look, a blank page workshop, and you start with a blank piece of paper and then write out, keep track. You know, yeah, 168 hours. You know, how many hours are you
168
sleeping?
hours.
How many are
Okay,
you
you
sleeping?
guys, like the challenge for this week. The challenge is like, okay, so and I'm gonna say, like, let's just make this assignment because I want to do it too.
Yeah.
So let's make this an assignment.
Mhm.
And we would love to know what you're going to do with your 168 hours. You don't have to plan the next 10 weeks. You don't have to plan whatever. Just plan this week. You have
Yeah.
168 hours. You also have to sleep. You also have to eat, like, no skipping those things. But if you think, let's think about your vision. Like, okay, it isn't even something you have to do, but like your vision for your life, you don't have to show it to anybody. What would your 168 hours be? If you could call all the shots, if you could control everything, what would your dream 168 hours be for your typical week in the life of you? I would love to know. I want to do that too. I'm so excited. I'm like,
That sounds
okay,
like a
Tiana,
yeah,
like, give me
fun
this blank page.
a blank page and you write it out.
You guys, this is your blank page. Like, what does your blank page have in it? I'm so excited. This is like
I mean, honestly, I feel inspired. Like maybe like after we do this activity with you all for this first week, I feel like we can do like a shape using like Canva or something, like in the shape of a surfboard type situation,
Yes.
making your 160. That's a project for later. Okay. I just needed to
Yes.
add that. Like, do a surfboard, you can like figure out how to make it look cute, but like what's in there and what's like, what's in the center? What keeps
Also,
you the
oh my
most
God, I
balance?
see. Listen, I see this as a whole worksheet. So we have the surfboard, that's the 168 hours of the things that we control, adapt to, and everything like that. And
Yes.
then maybe we have to label some waves
Yeah.
out in the
Oh,
ocean.
oh, unexpected waves of life, For me, that could be my toddler.
Yeah.
Work is a wave, thinking of all the waves, dealing with aging parents, whatever it is, that's like a part of your reality. So
Yeah, I
looking
love
forward to
that.
that.
I love that. And I think sometimes Tiana and I have talked about this before. Sometimes in your 168 hours, you have to plan for the waves. Like if you know the waves come consistently every week,
Mm,
like you have to be like, okay, this is that 4 hour time slot for that wave for
mhm.
dealing with these certain things. Um, that is something that we have both had to do. It's just
Yeah.
like this is the Tuesday afternoons. That's when I deal with that.
Yeah, and then once you're there, that's how you can systematize and like grow. So like I'm looking forward to working on this with you.
Yes. I'm excited about that. I had something that I was gonna work on this week, and now it completely
What do
escaped.
you
Oh,
mean?
no,
What
I
do you mean?
remember. I remember. I just didn't remember
And
immediately.
no, you didn't remember what I asked you earlier, and I put you on the spot. I got you. Now we're here. Now she's like, I got it, I got it, I got it. So circling back, passing the mic to the activity that's inspired by Emily this week.
So okay. I'm going to tell the fun little story about my microphone. So Tiana said in the first podcast, my audio was not as reliable as it could have been. So she said, I think that you could be one of those girls that has like the little pink microphone and you have your like cute little nails and everything. So I am officially the girl with the cute microphone and nails and everything. That's me. And so she said, "Oh, I'm surprised you don't do your reels like that on Instagram and everything like that." So the thing that I'm doing this week to push myself out of my comfort zone, because I haven't recorded my voice on reels, and I've done recording narration and everything like that professionally, but I've never done it in my personal life, and I don't know. It felt a little uncomfortable for me. So what I'm trying to do to grow and push myself out of my comfort zone is to post some reels from the travel that I've done recently. I've been out of town a lot this summer. So I've wanted to share my
Booked
content.
and busy.
I have been so busy. It's hard to keep up with me, but it has been so much fun. So I had to. And so I'm so excited to share, and I love to share good vibes when I share my travel stories and everything like that, and share just fun stories about meeting people and places that I've gone, because we're not all able to go out and explore. So I love being able to share my exploration and my passion for travel with other people. So this week, I'm going to challenge myself to do voiceovers for the different trips that I've gone on. I'm creating the reels, and I want to do 3 reels with voiceovers using my cute little pink mic. So if you
I'm
don't
excited
see me
for it.
doing this, this is
I
what
will
it looks
ask
like.
you about it top of the hour next time. I'm like, okay, so what were these 3 reels about?
Yes, you guys have to keep me accountable. This is why your life beyond belief is full of friendship and community. Is so that when we say we're doing things, you better believe we're going to be like, so did you do those things? And if I don't have it done
It's
by
okay.
like next Thursday night, I'm going to be like, oh no, I
I'm
need
gonna
to
get
get it
this done
done
in
because
one
she's going to
night.
call me out on the podcast.
She's like, I'm gonna get it all done in one night. I posted them all last night.
I did it all. I did it.
But yeah, as you work on your 168 your sheet, maybe that's a part of your vision. Like it's
Yes,
built
girl.
in.
So I'm going to do the 168 hours first, and I'm going to make a time block for my reels. And in my time block, one of my waves is going to be that I'm nervous and I feel like I have to record it 100 times. So I'm going to make sure my time block is extra long because this is the first time I'm doing it. I know me. I know me.
She's like, I already know.
I already know.
I'm with
I'm going to
perfectionism a little bit.
overcomplicate it.
She's like, no, you got this. I'm looking forward to it. Yes.
I'm very excited. So everybody, before we go, just remember the activity this week is the 168 hours. You can do it however you want to do it. But we would love to hear from you. We would love to hear in the comments what you decided to add into your 168 hours, what things are non negotiable, what things are just for you, what things you're not going to feel guilty about putting
Yeah.
into your 168 hours, and all the ways that you're excited to grow.
All right. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye, friends.
Bye.